Yo! What's good, everyone? This is Kevin from God Squad TV, and today I pose a question. What would happen if you took one of gaming's most beloved and iconic military warfare shooters and you turned it into a slow, clumsy, by the numbers police drama with lackluster shooting mechanics and predictably disappointing story? Well, you get this. A Battlefield Hardline is a 2015 first-person shooter primarily developed by Visceral Games, with a little help from DICE. Now, for those of you who don't know who DICE are, they are a game studio EA charged with the Battlefield license, which means DICE are responsible for the creation of Battlefield games. Now, I don't know if the problem was with Visceral or the fact that this game was also released on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, but this particular installment in the Battlefield series is not as graphically impressive as I think it should have been. Perhaps the game was heavily downgraded to accommodate last gen consoles because I think this game might have looked a lot better had it been released only for this generation. But graphics aren't everything. Even the most visually unimpressive game can be an absolute gem with phenomenal gameplay and game mechanics. So, how does Hardline measure up? Well, as I stated in the intro, the gameplay feels slow, unpolished, and unrefined. I don't know if it was intentionally made to feel that way to accommodate the police drama setting the story is set around, but I really feel like playing the game as a chore. The aiming and shooting feels off, weapons feel slow and a tad unrealistic. Enemies are really annoying to go up against as you don't know what to expect. They can either stand there and absorb bullets like a bunch of brain dead bullet sponges, or they can go into absolute beast mode and seemingly have absolutely spot on aim and never miss a shot. Kind of inconsistent for me. Now, do not even get me started on the abysmally poor driving mechanics because I would like this video to be as upbeat as possible and I hated driving in this game. Now, because you play as a police officer in this game, it is entirely possible in some levels to avoid gunfights altogether and sneak your way through enemies, either knocking them out or arresting them. Now, I'm all for gameplay variety, honestly, and I think that this was a good option to have, as I don't like the shooting mechanics in this game, which is a bit of a negative, considering that this is a first-person shooter. And it's not just any first-person shooter, it's a Battlefield game. Now, speaking of which, I really feel like this is one of the reasons why the game misses its mark. The fact that it carries the Battlefield license works against the game because as a Battlefield game, it had a lot to live up to. And to be honest, the game didn't really deliver. Had the game just been, I don't know, Hardline without the Battlefield logo and existed as an entirely new intellectual properties without any ties to any previous game or any game license, then the disappointment might not have been as bad for this game. In all honesty, taking the military warfare setting away from a Battlefield game is honestly just asking for failure. It would be creating a game without a sense of identity, and this is what Battlefield Hardline feels like. It feels like a game without an identity. I mean, can you just imagine a Call of Duty game that wasn't centered around military conflict? It would not make any sense at all to do that, and that's why Activision haven't done it. Now, if Activision know their franchise and they know the franchise's player base well enough to steer away from what would have made their games what they are, then I don't know why EA couldn't apply the same logic here. Now, let's talk about the story, shall we? That's primarily what you're going to be doing in this game. In the single player story, you play as Nick Mendoza, a Cuban American police officer working for the Miami PD. While investigating an ongoing drug war in Miami, he gets caught smack in the middle of a plot by corrupt Miami police officers, one of which is the captain of Miami PD. Now, the plot is to get in on the drug business in the city. Now, Nick finds evidence incriminating one of the officers at the station, but gets betrayed and framed by his partner and the captain of the police department, and he gets thrown in jail for 3 years before being broken out. You know how this goes, typical police drama, you know how it is. Now, the story plays out as a series of episodes, with each level counting as an episode. There are a total of 10 episodes, which means 10 levels in the game. Now, I will admit that the cutscenes in this game, as you're watching right now, are really, really well directed. And the voice acting is really, really good. I feel like this is one of the things that they really hit the mark on. Now, if you play the game on normal difficulty, as I have, the game clocks at round about 3.5 to 4 hours of gameplay and around an hour and a half of cutscenes. So you're looking at roughly a 5 to 6 hour gaming experience if you are solely playing the single player story. So what about the multiplayer? As a Battlefield game, it has to have multiplayer, right? Well, it does. Should you play it? I wouldn't bother. I mean, the game is from 2015, so it's understandable why the multiplayer in this game is kind of dead. But should you be lucky enough to find a match, there are a few multiplayer modes to choose from, like your standard team deathmatch, your capture the flag, standard multiplayer things. But there's also variety in the game, like a cops versus criminal style heist mode, where one team has to defend valuable objects as police officers while the other team attempts to steal those items as criminals and escape via a helicopter. But again, the multiplayer in this game is a bit dead, as I tried queuing up for matches so many times I lost count, but I was unable to find a match. So, what is my overall opinion on this game? Well, I think the game misses a lot of marks, both as a standalone first-person shooter and especially as a Battlefield game. I really feel like this game could have been a lot better with some polish and a lot more refined gameplay mechanics. In my opinion, the game is painfully average, if not slightly below average. So my rating for this game is a disappointing 4 out of 10. Now don't get it twisted, the game isn't bad, it isn't piss poor, it isn't a complete dumpster fire. But on the flip side, the game isn't particularly good either. I can't even say that the game is somewhere in the middle because that would kind of be disingenuous. The game is not that good to be an average game. I actually think that slightly below average is the more accurate opinion. I think it's safe to say that unless you like first-person shooters in general and don't really care about the gameplay, picking this game up might be worth your time, but otherwise, I think it's best to steer clear of this one. So, anyway guys, this has been my review of Battlefield Hardline. This has been Kevin from Guard Squad TV, signing off. Have a good day, everyone.